Yeah, just so you know, we had to shut the whole operation down to come here today.
Okay, good.
Like, there's nobody there taking
That's
phone
why
calls.
I got to drop the extension cord off to a short one.
We're gonna be a day behind our normal 2 to 3 days.
Yeah. Chances are you have to work all the way till 9 on Fridays.
9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m. You have to work till 9:30 a.m. on Friday. No, we took this half day off.
We're only gonna have time for 8 holes today.
Yeah, you're one short.
Yeah, I can start on 2.
We'll do odds today, evens tomorrow.
That's funny. All right. Are we good? Are we on?
Yeah, he's always ready.
Live?
Quick question: when does the serious part come in?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you ready to go? Let's get started. We got to get going.
All right.
Good place to go.
Welcome to episode 17 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. This is voted number 1 by General Formulations, who's sitting next to me and whose mug is in front of me here. So thanks for coming, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
The entire point of this one is going to be how to choose the right vinyl. So this seems like a good conversation to have you guys on for. But before we get started with that, I just wanted to have you guys go over kind of who you are, what's your role at General Formulation, how long you've been in the industry.
Oh, I was going to let you go first.
I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to mop up.
Let's rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
I'm Michael Maxwell. I'm the VP of Sales for General Formulations. Been in the industry for, I think we took a tally before Printing United last year. I think all in, I've been in the industry for 32 years. Started in screen printing, textile screen printing, worked my way through signage, into distribution, over to hardware manufacturing, and now I'm with materials. So got a lot of hairnets and name tags.
In printer.
Yeah, so done a bit of everything at this point. Field technician, sales, picking shelves, packing, driving stuff around in trucks, scraping paint off of floors, stretching screens, reclaiming screens, setting up files on various different art programs, and yeah.
How long have you been with General Formulations?
A little over 2 years now.
Up until today.
Yeah. And obviously didn't watch the last couple episodes. Do you have a family? Like, did you want to say, hey, I
do have a family, yes. They moved up here with me. So
where are you from?
I'm originally from Louisiana, moved to Atlanta in 2005, spent 17 years there, and recently came up here for the opportunity to work with the team at General Formulations. So I got a 10-year-old son and a wife at home, and shout out to them. Hi.
Perfect.
It's my turn.
It's
You're
your
up,
turn.
Matt.
Okay. Matt Edwards, General Formulations product manager of the digital line. I've been working there 13 years, almost 14. It seems like you're like grandfather like me. You learned from the ground up. It's been almost, I go back to making dies for print boxes, probably 34 years now. I think we said 30 back during ISA, but it's about close to 33.
Anything over 10.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's been a real ride. It's been great working for General Formulations. Got a family. Been married 34 years, 5 grandbabies. I got 4 boys and 2 daughter-in-laws, and another baby coming in August. So pretty excited about that. It's grew up in Chicago, moved here in '89. I worked various places doing, like I said, dye work, building dyes for our industry. Manufacturing fire trucks and doing graphics and such there, and electrical engineering, and then a couple other things, and then worked for this establishment way back in the day. I think I worked here with Mike when you were
I was gonna mention that. Like, I often think about this. Like, I always think about, like, okay, if you're putting like a team together, like a full management team, but like take your management team out of it and you're gonna put another full team together. I always think about that. I'm like, Matt and Edwards and I were on the same team back when we were way younger, before everybody knew who we were. and it would be different. I mean, think about that. If we would have stuck together, and they would have, and I remember back in the day, and like, Wensco wasn't ready for you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
when you look back at it, it's nothing on Wensco, it's nothing on Matt. It was like, Wensco wasn't ready for you, because I remember, like, your work ethic compared to what was going on at this place was two different things. Like, you had very high work ethic. We had some sales reps that probably didn't, or they were, I shouldn't say that, they were seasoned, right? When you get to be a sales rep and for so long, all of a sudden, like, okay, these are my guys. I go visit my guys. Matt's like in and out of the warehouse, in and out of grabbing stuff. Like, remember we sold a lot of Kodak paper back then.
Yeah, we did. We
sold a lot of Kodak. So yeah, it was a good time, but that was, how many years ago was that? Too early.
95.
No, it was like 2000. Well, it was a return trip or something. Did you work here twice?
I think, yeah, the prodigal son came back, I think, twice. It was a really interesting time in the sign industry, moving from, pigmented materials and dye-based, pigment-based. And I remember you, and our warehouse was run, but you came in and looked from a different perspective and said, like you, it's either, when I'm walking, my wife's like, slow down, It's either get behind me or get beside me, because we got something to do. And it was just a different industry. A lot of great people. I learned an awful lot. Ben Van Houten's still here. I learned a lot about him, about paints and other things and substrates. And
I declared this week Ben Van Houten week. That's why I dressed up. I'm going to dress up all week.
Did you?
I think Ben Van Houten's been in the sign industry 80 years, 70 years.
Could be. Yeah.
I should ask him how long. But he's the type of guy that he doesn't have a pair of jeans. I don't think he owns a pair of jeans.
See, now we wore jeans.
He's always a sharp dress.
He always dresses nice. So this week I'm dressing nice.
I mean, he
Ben Van Houten week.
paint.
He flipped it on us.
Yeah,
we've been listening, and he said, you should wear jeans. So we wore jeans.
Yeah.
And you come in and you're not wearing
dressed
jeans. Thanks.
I do that kind of
show
stuff.
you up.
So kind of round it out, working from the bottom up. I've kind of learned every business I've worked for that way, and then it's just you dig in and you learn, and I've learned an awful lot. And there's a lot of people that we can attest to what we've learned from, but then a different perspective. So I'm thankful for that. Great company to work for, General Formulations, and
you're a hard act to follow.
It's maybe an act, but and we keep adding great people.
Same thing here.
We're so thankful. And I guess the ones that don't stick around, we wish them well to do something else, and the people that came before us that led the way. Thank you.
Yeah, I get the same thing. There's a lot of people that were before me, and I came in obviously a different perspective altogether. But I remember you were there too, and like if they could have seen who we were going to be back in like 2000, we'd both still be here, and we'd be having a good time either way.
Wensco's a great company and a great family-owned company like GF, so very similar systems of work ethic and team and family, and we can argue like the best of them, but then we all get on the same direction.
I can say this about GF too. People don't know this. I've never lived more than a half mile from General Formulations my entire life. Like, even if you go on General Formulations site, there's that first video that they have up.
Yeah.
My property's in that video. Like, when they pan out, you can see the backwoods in the back left corner. That's my property.
I see the bunker lid open once in a while.
Well, that's me shoving the kids down there if they ain't behaving.
Well, the pool, one of the two, it looks like a Olympic-sized pool.
So yeah, that's my, like, I've never lived. I mean, I used to have to walk by General Formulations back before you guys closed the road there to go to school. Like, that was back in the day when, like, in second and third grade, you had to walk to school. It was a mile. Like, they made second and third graders walk a mile to school.
It's crazy. You could
both ways.
Well, no. We use it. Well, yeah. Well, that's what we're supposed to say, right? No shoes on. My parents didn't let me wear shoes or anything in the snow. Yeah, no jackets, no shoes.
No, it's again, the interesting industry to be in, and again, just thankful the chance to be part of it. It's actually a really neat. Every day you learn something, and again, we talk about competition, and competition is great. There are a lot of great people we know in all the different all the different areas, and
there's room for everybody.
We all make each other better.
Yeah, a competition makes you better.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
If you don't have competition, you're going to suck because you're never going to try harder.
We love looking at a new product and going, wow, that's pretty cool.
They were like, dang it, why did they think of that before me? Like, that happens, and even with us, like, did you just see what they did? Why did they, like, how did they figure that out before me?
Yeah.
Like, I get mad at myself, like, man, I should have thought of that.
You just look at that. That's a really good idea.
That was a great idea. Yep.
Exactly.
I don't know how I came up with that, but so we talked about, you already mentioned General Formulations, family-owned company, similar to us here. Practically neighbors. How long did it take you guys to get here? Well, I guess if you came from home, that might be different, but probably what?
We just rolled out the back door and we were here.
Florida yesterday morning.
Long drive.
Well, I can tell you, it's 10.3 miles. Just because I know how far it is from my house, and when I walk by there, like when I'm going to, because I got to go get Tristan's dog to walk Tristan's dogs. I know
0.3 miles further. Yeah. Okay.
So
He's got it down to the coordinates.
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
longitude.
Yeah, stone throw away. Yep.
Well, he's not taking a road and just walking through the woods and end up in general
it's the
formulations.
railroad tracks. Go railroad tracks straight there. Get off. You're right there.
That's what those are.
True, but can you guys, I guess, just summarize, besides the facts that we just talked about, kind of who is General Formulations and what do they do?
At General Formulations, established back in 1953, the original owner, Jim Black, was revolutionary in the fact that he made this equipment, a cylinder press, which sped up making screens fast and to print super fast. It was a big cylinder press. So he's an engineer at heart. So we made that for many years. It used to be called a general press. Makes sense. Later years, in order to feed it, started doing inks, right? Makes sense. And in 1965, I believe, is when we got into our coder to actually make the material you feed the press with. So that ran for quite a long time. And we kept adding equipment, adding coders, adding people. But we started out in the screen and offset, obviously, and the sheets. And then, as we know today, we're at 300 people plus, working 24/7, about a 400,000 square foot facility. We're adding equipment again and people often. We're very excited about that.
Yeah.
But it's because of dealers like you. It's people, it's end users that are getting into this industry. It's really exciting and it's very creative. And so that help fuels it all. But as a family company, we're based on our people every day getting it done. Much like yourself. So, again, when we moved on from screen and offset, we moved into digital, which is obviously the same films. We moved into sign vinyls and such as well. We have a sign and crafts side. We have Indigo side too, which is our narrow format NFD, narrow format digital. We'll put a little plug in there.
There you go.
But it really, if you kind of think of the big picture, it's cross-platform. It's the same film we used in screen and offset, same film for digital and for NFD, right? Just different adhesives, different liners, maybe a special top coating here and there. And again, the signed vinyl line for the perm removables and stuff are still pretty healthy and still being sold every day. But it's the whole level of different inks, right? We moved on from the days of Kodak. I remember Kodak was an interesting company, right? They were didn't they do the digital camera, the original?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they kind of plateaued, I think, and you see some stuff now come back out, but it was quite interesting. But where we're at now with inks and all the equipment you sell, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I remember the day, and this doesn't happen as much. You remember when you were first doing sales, even here, like, hey, I need a test to make sure it prints.
Yeah.
Right.
And now it's like, no, everything you guys make, we know it's going to print. Like, we don't need to see like, oh, they got this new vinyl. Does it print? No, everything prints now.
It makes
right?
it easier to sell,
Before
right?
it wasn't. Before it was like, oh, it might not print.
It
this
wasn't a given.
material might not print on this. Like now it's like everything prints.
And you were serious.
Yeah.
It was, oh, sorry, didn't really, no one knew what they had either.
Yep.
So it's really changed. But as we add more equipment and people and technology, right, and adhesives and liners and all the different testing, there's always something new. It's always something new.
Yeah. So one of the main things you're talking about 400,000 square feet. Is that what you said roughly? Mm-hmm. So all of your manufacturing is here in Michigan?
Yeah, that's a good point to mention it, right? So I would say 98% of everything we do is here in Michigan.
Stay closer to your microphone. Rick's going to get us in trouble.
So coating.
He's got to come over me.
Coating, converting here. We have a facility over in Germany that sells all of our products as well, but then a facility in Cerritos, California for stock and such. Mm-hmm. So, but everything would be coated, converted here.
Yeah, so American made, American shipped.
We like American made. We've been visiting. So we visited France. You remember France Transformers, all that stuff?
Oh yeah.
And we just visited them, and like to see that American manufacturing, like just like your guys, is like it's made right here, and it's I love it. I mean, you can still make stuff here. You don't have to make everything overseas.
Yeah, every day. Quality, again, back to the people, quality product, quick ship. It can be done, and it's just...
and it's rewarding to see how many families are supported by the effort of manufacturing here.
Yeah, and I see it like, and Judy would say the same thing when we have our like big event every year. We have a summer party, and you see all these families, and it's like, man, that's when you feel that pressure moment, like... Even like as your leadership team, you're like, man, all these people are counting on us. But but then again, like, okay, we're also supporting all these people and their families. And it's like, let's just keep doing this.
It's eye-opening, right?
It is. It's very eye-opening. It's very scary, but very eye-opening. Like,
that's what people always look at sales and they're like, oh, the sales guys, they get to go out and they get to do all these fun things. But the pressure, the amount of emphasis on the reality of all these families relying on you to do your job effectively, to bring things in.
Yep.
It wears on you after a little while, but at the same time, it's very rewarding, especially when you have these, group gatherings. That's one of the best things about being with a family-owned company is you get to do these types of events, and then you get to see the result of all the effort. It's not just a number on a page.
Yep, exactly right.
No, we love our people. I mean, they're real families, like you said. When you're done, you go home, you have a family, and they do too. And
yep,
it is eye-opening, but it's again, I'm back to it's a privilege. It really is.
So I think one of the things we've kind of we're harping on one of our last podcasts about people making, he referred to it as greenwashing is actually what he said in the episode, but making products that are green and then they're just more expensive. I feel the same way about American made products, right? A lot of people they'll put it out there as American made and it'll be way more expensive, right? It'll be like, hey, but this is made in America. What we're showing is there's companies out here that are making it here in the United States and it's competitive with all the competition, right? So it's not like, hey, buy this because it's American made. It's, hey, we have a great product,
right? And
also, hey, it's also made here in the United States, right?
That's a good point. And then you said the greenwashing. It's just a perspective. I guess at any perspective, you can make something look like whatever it is. Over the years, we've pulled stuff out of products, working with our manufacturing that make films and such to bring the things that aren't necessarily good out, right? And we were surprised more and more every day. They're focused on that, and the things they pulled out it's amazing. And even in packaging and all these things that we touch, and obviously inks and everything, but it is about a quality made product in the day and a fair price. Everything costs money. That everything that we do costs money, but we have someone focused on it every day to, make it consistent, make it reasonable.
So going back to, you said you have two divisions. Roughly how many products, if you know, how many of them are on the signage side?
Well, if we look at the divisions, really it's print film. So you've got screen and offset, you have digital, your narrow format digital, and we have, sign and craft. There's really four, but if you look into it, there's the print sides that are coupled together, screen and offset, narrow format, depending what they have in their shop, and then digital and sign. So it depends what you look like. We sell it as a overall solution. And I can speak to the digital. There's about 60 plus different print products, different adhesives, different liners, and there's about 25 different laminates and 7 or 8 different mounting films. And we're always working on new, and either changing something, make it better, or maybe a product just gets old as well and it's not useful because there's newer technology rolling into something better.
I ask because I think most people will know kind of like the main 2 or 3, and that's not just for you guys, right? That goes for anyone on the channel side of the business, right? You'll only know 2 or 3 films from that manufacturer, only to find out that the catalog is, right? We were just talking about your guys' catalogs in 2 separate catalogs, right? Because of how many products it is. But I asked that to say, like, when someone's looking for vinyl options, right, and they may only know 2 from 3 or 4 different manufacturers, why is it important for them to maybe look further into the catalog for some of these projects?
That's a good question. So there's like a million questions you have before that when you're talking to somebody. It comes down to basics, really. You've got 2 different face films, or 3 if you want to say. You've got your matte and gloss basics, right? Within the matte and gloss basics for GF, we take that same quality polymeric face and then we add different adhesives or different liners. So you have that consistent quality on the face film that they already know, they're already using. Right. 201 or something, right? A popular film, and they want a high tack. Well, it's the same face film, but a high tack adhesive. Oh, you want an aerograss, or you want a removable. It depends on the project. We're going to have that within those lines, really what you need. And again, that screams that consistency and quality. Again, whether it's matte or gloss or even gloss clear, that just you change up the adhesives and liners. And it really then makes it so much easier to understand it. And then you move over to screen and offset. Same thing, a lot of 3.4, 3 mils. They're the same films, so that just gives someone the ability to, the confidence built right away when you point at it. They're going to like, oh, and you can see them, yeah, it's going to work. I know it's going to work. So that makes it easy.
That's the beauty of what we do. We are able to look at all the different components, and you guys might come up with something we didn't think of. And we'll say, you know what, we'll get in there with you and we'll try it. We'll figure it out. We'll do some testing, and if it looks viable, something we can get through the system, then we'll make it for you. And that's one of the things that separates GF from everybody else, is we're not just making something and putting it on the shelf and saying, come buy it. We're actually looking at it and saying, okay, hey, what do you need? What are you guys thinking of? Oh, I'm trying to do this, or I've got this challenge that I'm facing out in the field when I'm doing an install, and we can look at it and take those components and put together, and we get the same quality, you get the same result, but you get the ease of use or whatever it is that you're looking for as a finished product. And sometimes it's a one-off. Sometimes it ends up being part of the portfolio after a while.
It's where a lot of end users, someone may, I'll call it a printer, a sign shop may say, hey, I'm really struggling. This new paint came out in this trailer or this truck or this wall, right? Wall paint. Mm-hmm. We're going to produce something with consistent testing. When there's something new, we're going to tackle it and make it so it works. And that's the biggest thing. I think that we have a full-on operation internally in lab that we can test. We can do pretty much whatever you want to make sure that it's going to work. Or if you're challenged, challenge us.
And we love listening to what the customers are looking for.
Yep.
We love new challenges.
Yeah. Again, that's what drives our industry forward.
Yeah, it's nice to see those challenges too, like you said, and then all of a sudden it ends up in your portfolio. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen it years ago, before we were doing business with you guys even. We were looking for, it was 6 mil. Yeah. Like, we were like, we need 6 mil removable, permanent, matte, and gloss. And they're like, we don't even make that. We're like, well, we need it. Yeah. And basically it's our alpha line now, but like, and then you've seen it go in everybody's portfolio. Well, we saw it just because we deal with a lot of the guys that are working out of their garages and house, and they don't have a laminator. Mm. Well, how are you going to apply it? You can't, to apply a 3 mil, like without having to wet apply, like we just get us a 6 mil. And now you see it everywhere. Everybody uses it. But that was one of those things where it's like in the beginning, they're like, you don't want that. We're like, yes, we do. Like, no, you don't want it. Yes, we do. And
continues to grow, right?
And it continues to grow. Like it's those things that we just see because like what can make this easier for you? And like they can probably make that.
Yeah.
And you guys are very good at that. Like, I mean, you're any project, like when we just did it just recently with you guys. Hey, they need it on a certain skid. Right. Like they need it on a skid this way. We call you guys up. Yep, we can do it. That's
so both custom vinyl and custom
packaging
you in a certain way, so that it's easy for your, not just on the install side, but on the print production side. Not even, we're talking about the printer. We're talking about pre-print on the skid productions.
Well, like our owner says, the answer is yes. What's your question?
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And that's the right where you have that communication where we don't have any problem calling you saying, hey, this is what we need. And you can't always do that with every company, right? Yeah. Like, nope, this is what we sell. Yep. This is how it comes. This is what it looks like. And like,
well, it's like your wet apply comment. There are a lot of customers that don't know the right wet application fluid. They'll mix something that doesn't work well or it reacts with adhesive. Years, right? So then we're like, okay, well, we see there's a lot of failures because they're not using a component that's completely out of our control. Well, let's just make it air grass, make it easy for them, make it so it's dry apply.
Yep.
Just keep looking at different things and different ways of approaching it so that this customer can do it this way and this customer can do it this way.
So when you talk about 60 different product lines, what are questions?
60 different products.
60 products.
Wow, 60 product lines. You just gave me a little of a...
We're going to need 4 million square feet.
You're going to have to work all week this week.
10 a.m. on Fridays now. It's 60 product line. No, 60 different products. And you said the answer is yes. What's your question?
Yeah.
What are questions sign shops should be asking either their customers or to their production staff before they go in and purchase the vinyl?
Just the basics. It's always been the same basics, and maybe it's just a reminder of when you're talking to a customer, and so when they're all excited about it, and someone calls and wants whatever, it's asking, is this interior, exterior? Mm-hmm. Well, the car's inside, so it's interior. No, it's literally walking through because where's it going to live, right? Is it permanent, removable? Do you need something block out? Is it short term, long term? And you ask those questions and you ever draw 3 circles and they all come together, right? Like the color gamut. In the middle is just a small space. Yep. So turn that one more and turn it one more. And if you ask 3 different questions, it makes that space smaller. We want to hit that. It's a target. Mm-hmm. And what it causes when you ask these questions, it causes that target to get smaller and smaller. And then you maybe have a cost question. Is it a calendar, high performance calendared, or maybe a cast And then you get into the laminates and finishes and such. So it is pretty basic. It's just a reminder. It's like an ABC. It's application, base film, and the end would be cost, right? It's the ABCs. And within application, many questions. Within the base film, finish, gloss, matte, whatever, adhesive, perm removal, and cost. You have a cost range depending on really what they choose. And they may not be aware there's something that fits them that they've been using this forever. And that's the beauty of educating an end user. Is it what it makes it do is quicker, more profitable, and that light goes off in their head and they can use it other places. And the next thing, you're getting that call. You're getting that call first because you're helping them. And I know Wensco in particular and other, you've gotten calls, you can't help them, but you say, I can't help you, but this is what you need.
Right.
Yep.
And we'll do the same.
Yeah, we'll push people off if they don't need it. But what you're just talking about, we've talked about a lot of times on the podcast, is it's actually a very simple process for the people that are super knowledgeable, and that's what we're here for, right? We understand, like all the questions you just said, we understand all those. We can boil it down very, very fast where you're in this world like this is, they got this, they got that. We're like, well, we know what questions to boil it down to, one or two.
Right.
And that's what we're here for. And that's what you guys are there for.
Like you said, just listening within, maybe it's an email, maybe it's a couple keywords that you can and ask and let them tell you what they'll struggle because they're struggling because they need it to work, right? That's nothing worse than someone chooses the wrong product. And again, we're here to help.
And that's just it, making sure the customer knows what your capabilities are and not trying to push them onto something just because it just happens to be something you sell. Yep. But letting them know, hey, this is something that's in our wheelhouse or something that's not, and being completely upfront with them and saying, well, we can try and figure this out, but you might do better with product X. And I think that goes a long way. That's something that's really resonated with our customers is sometimes we just say we can't do it.
Right. Setting expectations.
Yeah.
Or if you know it's going to fail, then you put them to the other customer. You put them to the other. Hey, look, they're gonna way overstretch this sucker. We better have somebody else fail, not us.
Yeah, I think Mike and I can write a book. We'll co-write one.
We could easily.
Just the fun that we've all been through to
where it all went wrong.
If you just looked at like the returns that you come in with pictures, if you just went through them, it could be its own book where you're just like, how does this?
Again, it was just someone not knowing or not wanting to ask questions or didn't know who to call. And no one wants to make a mistake. It's embarrassing for them, their company, and maybe lose a customer. We can't afford that. We got to help them.
No.
But wrapping the nose of the space shuttle was not a good idea.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So we talked about kind of their options that are out there. So what we can run into frequently, at least on our end, is people that will just use, the most affordable vinyl that they can get a hold of. And then they'll come out and they'll be like, hey, we're looking for this specific job. You'll recommend a product that's probably slightly more expensive. And they'll say like, no, I'm good. This one just works, right? Why is it important to make sure that you have the right product versus one that, it just works? It's worked before.
You hit it in the head. Again, you're probably thinking like me, what do you mean it works? I go right in the question, what do you mean it works? Well, we've had people like, they bought a film from overseas. They bring it in, they print all the time and they're using it. And then, we make it work. I'm like, back up. What do you mean you make it work? Well, it could be, 10, 15 feet. There's usually something somewhere and I have to reprint. I'm like, all right, let's do the math quick. Right. And before you know it, that's saving 10 cents a square foot. Let's say a 4x8, that's $3.20. And back when we grew up, that was a Happy Meal. So you're going to give up who you are as a company to your customer for a Happy Meal? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Let me buy that for you. But redirecting them like with the right product. So again, removability. What do you mean it works? Well, we remove it. It takes an hour to clean it up. But so you remove it every 30 days? Yeah. And then someone spends an hour cleaning the adhesive up. You got to ask why. And they don't realize to ask why. They may not realize there's a product.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the things we run into, and I just saw an article from Digital EFX. What's the other guy? Not Dallas. Matt,
yeah.
Matt wrote an article about like understanding your labor. And I was like, I think we run to so often where somebody doesn't understand what their labor is, right? So they'll do a job that they know they're going to have to peel off and then they won't use the right vinyl for it. And they'll spend, 4 hours removing it when the other vinyl would have been, another $100. And you're like, okay, you could have spent $100 more, or you spent 4 guys 4 hours of labor to get this vinyl removed. Like, which one was more valuable to you?
Well, I'll take that a step further. Not even the cost of it, your time.
Yeah.
Right. Having time to go spend with your family or do other things.
Yeah. We talked about that on this podcast. Time is very important. We talked about even
it's
like
the most important thing.
I have someone mow my lawn because it take 2, 3, 4 hours. Well, when you're working and you're on the road nonstop, that's 4 hours you could spend with your grandkids and your family and stuff, or that's 4 hours I
100%.
could be working trying to make more money.
Well, you just hit it on the head. So fuel, maintenance, time. So when someone has to redo something, it's just not having to redo it. They've lost that hour in time to actually go make money. So
Yes.
it's a double dip.
Yep.
A double dip. We can help. We can help.
We can help. I mean, look, we may not be the cheapest product, but if the time savings is there,
Yeah.
Yep.
it's worth whatever the amount is.
Yeah. So to answer, yeah, there's different, it's just educating, didn't realize they have to take time to up their game. And you guys do a lot on training, having open houses and such. That helps bring them in. That's why we do trainings and we do, updates, how-tos.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
if you've been listening to our podcast for the last, whatever this, 16 weeks now, we probably talked a billion times about like, call your sales rep. Like if you have a question, like call, like that's literally what we're here for.
Right.
Like, our job is to make sure that if you have an issue, we should be able to help you with it. If we don't know the answer, we definitely know somebody that knows the answer.
Right.
So you can
Someone's
walk
here.
right over and get it from us.
You know, kidding. Yeah.
We could.
Literally,
I could. We could just walk
have
right in the back.
roll in our warehouse in under 30 minutes from yours. So
It happens, and it happens often, and I think that's where you make a difference of the service level.
So
Yeah.
if someone's looking for a new vinyl, they're not familiar with General Formulations, why should they look at General Formulations versus looking elsewhere?
That's a question.
Yeah, exactly.
For some people.
It's pretty
If they
simple.
don't know you,
It's
that's
pretty
a problem.
simple. Number one, you want someone who's going to work with you, pick the phone up, support you. There's a lot of choices. And then if you're making a choice to go and have something to eat, where do you go? You just pick a place, you go and you try it. If it doesn't work, we don't want them to keep trying. We want to
keep
know
putting your
upfront.
mic.
We want someone
Rick
to know
keeps
right
yelling
away.
at me.
You just,
Hey,
have
Rick.
to, you just have to swivel it this way. There you go.
There you go.
You'll be
There you
okay.
go.
So basically, it's the right product first, right? That's it, the right product. So when you're selling your printer, setting it up, it's knowing what they're doing. It's getting in their hands. And there's many products in the market, but again, quick service, the right product, someone to back up and help you if there is a problem or if a question during an installation. Responsiveness, I think we're really good at that. And I think that's helped us we have that family company feel in a sense, but we'll still pick up the phone. We'll still get back with you. And, and you hear struggles too, where there's some that just can't get anybody to call them back.
Well, we're not going to drive you to one technology either, just because it's something we have. We're going to look at it and say, okay, yeah, you can make this work exactly the way you want it to, or you can't. And if you can't, then we need to look at what the options are to make that product if we don't already have a solution for you. And that's the thing I think that people that miss when they're looking at, why to come to General Formulations or somebody else is, are they willing to work with you? Are they willing to listen? Right? That's the most important piece of it, is listening, understanding what the customer's really trying to achieve. Are they going to want that to really last 10 years, or do they really need to only last 5 years? We can sell you something that lasts way beyond 5 years, or we can give you something that's less expensive that's going to give you exactly what you're looking for. We can upsell you, sure.
Right.
But why?
And I always put back to us, yes, we manufacture, yes, we pick up the phone and answer calls, but it's, you guys really, it really comes down to your team, your CSRs, knowing, to pick the phone to call, or it is, because that's where the action happens. We're here every day, but you need to then push it uphill, help, or help your customer. But
to Tyler's point, like, talk to your sales rep, right? Because your sales rep's collecting that information and they bring it to us and say, this is what my customer's looking for. And we try and work with you guys to figure it out.
What I think I see just from, just even talking about the last trade show, you guys showed me the high tack removable. Mm-hmm. I hadn't seen it before. And I was like, this is a product that, like, it doesn't really exist right now besides what you guys have, right? Mm-hmm. There's other sort of solutions out there.
Counterintuitive too, right? High tack and removable.
That's when you say it, you go, no, those words don't go together. But we talk about it in terms of, like, besides being family owned, right? It means the people making the decisions also are a smaller group of people than some of the other options out there.
Right.
So we run into is, if you guys see a hole in the market or somebody asks for something that doesn't exist, you have the ability to move on that faster versus, like, if we go to any of the bigger ones, right? It's just not going to happen, right? If you're like, hey, can you manufacture me this special film?
Right.
There's not many people that are going to do it, and definitely not here in the United States, right?
Well, I'll tell you how it works for us. We sit down twice a week as a group, a collective, and we throw everything on the table and say, this is what we're working through. These are the items that came up. Sales takes a turn, production takes a turn, shipping, everybody takes a turn. We all just look at everything, and throughout that process, someone in the room has an idea or a way of doing that need better, and we collaborate on it. We're in and out of there in 45 minutes, boom, and we execute. And I don't think there's anybody else in the industry that sits down like that as a group, as a collective, and doesn't have to go through a bunch of bureaucratic red tape to get things done. We just make a decision, make it happen, and we get it out the door. And I think we're one of the fastest, if not the fastest,
the quick ship and
turnaround for whatever you're looking for.
That. Yep. Yeah. Even not even specialty products. We're just talking regular product. Like if we get an issue or something, getting it out quickly doesn't always happen. Sometimes we get promised.
It helps we can pick it up. Like you can literally say, hey, it's ready. We already have a guy that's, now he's less than 8 miles from there already. By the time you guys said, yes, it's ready, we're like, okay, we'll be there.
We have 2 guys that probably drive within 5 miles of that building on a regular basis. So it makes it a lot easier.
That's great.
Just turning it a little bit, what's kind of new products you guys have been working on or recently released, or stuff that has already come out?
We're always working on stuff. Which again, exciting, looking over the horizon. The recent launch, obviously our cast line about a year ago, our 830, our drift technology cast. We took that same face film and added a different component, which is a high-tech removal adhesive with Aerograss. So really where that came from, we have a 285 rough mark for walls. It's a 3.5 mil. It's a calendar polymeric, right? A lot of temporary to medium term graphics where you want to stick it on something, remove it cleanly, right? Yeah. Where someone doesn't want to hang a banner, screw holes, hooks. We've all seen it. This allows it to go up on a surface and then come off cleanly. We took that same HTR high-tech removal technology and put it on the cast, and it's much more conformable. It's a longer life film, so that also hits another segment from medium term to long term, if you leave it on. But again, the ability to put it on, reposition it in a sense, as well as even the Aerograss technology that really helps on applying it, and it's applied at a lower heat than some other films in the market, which makes it a little faster. Yeah. Again, been a beautiful product because you can also put it on like plasticades, like our 285 rough mark 3.5 mil. We also have a clear version of matte. Just put on plasticades where they want to put it on and pull it off. Back in the day, you had to heat treat them with flame because nothing would stick, right? Yeah. Unless the panels, people would screw in a panel, and then some used to be sand filled and water filled, and what a disaster. But now having a product you can put on and then pull off, and it opens up that plasticade to be another profitability point for a sign guy where or a printer. You can do 30 days and peel it off and have the end user stick it back on. It's Aerograss. If you laminate it, it makes it so much easier. So again, we're just coming up with ways to help the installers or people that sell spaces because everything's wrappable now. And we needed this product. And so we're excited. It's really taken off already.
No, and I think the 885A is a prime example of what GF does, right? So we've scoured the country. We went and sat down with a bunch of installers, a bunch of customers, and we found out a lot of customers were wrapping walls and interior spaces with cast film because they like the conformability. They like that it takes that texture of whatever it is, whether it's drywall, whatever it looks like it. But the common theme was, well, once it's up there, it's up there. Everybody's got a permanent adhesive. We're going to take the wall down when we're trying to take this graphic down. I'd like to change at some point, or I can't really paint over it because I've covered it in vinyl and it's not really going to be compatible. So we looked at that and we said, well gosh, we have a whole line of wall materials. We already have this adhesive. We already have this liner technology. What if we put these together? And here we are, 885 AE. Makes sense. Yeah. So what? So we're one of those people that came up with the thing and everybody else is going, wait, why didn't we think of that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, again, different. And there's different aspects. I mean, a lot of the wall graphics nowadays, it's 50-50. People want permanent, they want removability still, but the spaces in which you'd use that product.
Sure.
Events, arenas, colleges, schools.
Yeah, we literally just did a video on that 885 AE, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've seen for walls in a while. Like,
it's wild.
I think the number one feature for somebody who's terrible at installing, which would be me, is what I'm talking about.
I might challenge you on that one.
Yeah, no kidding. When it sticks to itself, you're not screwed. Normally I'm just done. You're just like, all right, reprint, it's stuck. I'm not getting it apart. Versus it sticks and then it's removable. You just peel it apart and put it back on the wall.
Out in the wind when you install it right in the building somewhere. And so, we're excited about that. There's many more on the docket coming up. We're just not ready to launch them, but we're always working on something.
Mostly new stuff coming from the cast line.
We have more products in the cast line, but then we have some other polymer calendar products coming up, whether it's a change out of a liner or such. So.
Yeah, we love all of our products. The cast line is obviously the newest one, and it's made here. I know there's been some misinformation out in the market that it's made elsewhere. We actually make it here.
Yep.
We've seen it.
We've been there.
Yeah.
It's great.
So like everything else.
Yeah, with the 4 different laminates and finishes and thicknesses.
That's another piece of the GF puzzle, right? Being able to control the aspect of manufacturing from ground up. So you can control that quality all the way through the life cycle. So we're not losing any piece of that.
Yep.
Perfect. Kind of my last question that I have is kind of what do you, if you had to summarize it, what do you think sets General Formulations apart from its competitors in the industry?
I think you nailed it too, as far as the quick ship quality, concern that it's going to work right. I mean, again, we use that word family business. We've gotten really big.
I was going to say that I think the number one thing that sets you apart, without a doubt, is family owned. And the real reason is you're not looking at making a profit today. You're looking at like, my family's going to own this in 30 years. I got to make sure I keep those customers forever. So when you do have an issue, you're going to fix them versus someone that's not family owned, because they're looking at I got to make plan this month, or I got to make plan this quarter, where you guys are like, my kid's got to make money 30 years from now.
Right.
So that makes the whole difference.
That's an important piece, because having worked for companies that were publicly traded, that are being essentially managed by their shareholders, having a family-owned private company like this, you can reinvest in your employees and you can reinvest in the growth of their families, right? That's that long-term. So I think that's the DNA that makes GF, scalable over the years, and we're going to continue to do that. We put so much time and effort into the 300 plus families that we have, and spend a lot of time making sure that they're happy. There's always something going on. There's always some type of event. There's a lot of internal family environment type of stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and like I said, you're not going to take any shortcuts, because you're looking 20 years down the line. You're not looking at a number you got to hit by the end of the year. You're looking at, I got to hit this number 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, however long it might be. That's the number you're looking to hit. So you're not taking shortcuts. You're not putting out a crappy product. You're going to support everybody. Like we see it here. We're the same way here. Like we want you today, but we really want you 15 years from now.
Right. Yeah. Right.
We talked about this in a previous podcast about sales reps. And when I see you guys at shows, as long as I've been here, I've seen the same 4, 5, 6 people the entire time that I've been here. And why that's important is exactly what you're talking about. I think what happens is these are sales reps that have been there a while, meaning they don't want to sell you today, because 12 months from now, they're going to need to sell you again, right? So if they sell you the wrong product, they don't get to come back. I think sometimes you run to companies that are trying to make sure they hit this quarter or this year, and they're going to push a little harder.
Right.
Versus General Formulations doesn't ever feel that way, right? It feels like, hey, we're going to make sure you get the right solution, because we want you to be a customer for the next 20 years.
And that's, again, the constant challenge. Again, we say family-owned company. I think Heinz is family-owned company too. It's huge, but when we say family-owned company too, it's the idea of we're growing. We're just not here in the States. We're all over the world. We're a global company, and we compete and ship globally every day. Containers, and it's just the amount of material we kick out every day is just overwhelming. If you stand back and look 15 years ago, it's like, how did this happen? People. Right? People, processes, end users that are coming into the business, new printers, you guys, quality people that are partners that want to grow and want to see you as you're an opportunity for your line to grow, not just to grow, but for you to grow into the future, like you said. So we use that family-owned thing a lot. We talk about it, but again, your challenges, we're challenged that we're competing against entities that are way out making decisions somewhere, but it's really here. But again, I want to make sure we understand that it is a global company that we're shipping everywhere, and more people, I would say daily, if not weekly, are, wow, I've heard of you, or I've been using you for years. You get those conversations like, oh yeah, your dad used to delivered to me back in the day. You know, what do you got new? Well, it's that bridge. All of a sudden, that bridge, that commonality you have, that you're not here and gone for a quick sale, right?
Yep.
So we're here for a
No,
long time.
we have a great team, and we're all consultants on some level. We all bring some different perspective on how things can get done, and we talk a lot internally. We don't just work in a vacuum, and I think that's you mentioned a lot of the same faces. We hold on to the people as long as we can. We don't like them to retire. We actually encourage them to not retire and stay.
It's the knowledge.
Yeah.
It's the Ben Van Houtens. That's the knowledge. You had a question about paint. You probably remember the Matthews number from 20 years ago, and the mix ratio. But it's the knowledge. We have a lot of employees that stay long term, and then they eventually retire, and that's a good, healthy thing. And new blood comes in, and it's the evolution of the industry, right?
And it's the sticky business.
Yeah.
People first, and technology. It really
Stick
is.
around forever. Yeah,
Whoa.
we've talked about that a while too. But I think
that's-
two points just from our end, which I feel like helps. At least if you haven't tried General Formulations, you're listening to this, and you're a Wensco customer, or even not a Wensco customer. Two things I would say. One, you guys are currently, I think, our fastest growing digital line that we have.
Yes.
And the second one is, I don't know any customers offhand that have found the solution from General Formulations and then later switched off of it. To say anyone that uses it and finds the solution that works for them, they typically stick with it from my side, as long as they've been doing it, right? So if you haven't tried it, that's just from Wensco's perspective of things. It would be worth looking into.
We appreciate that.
We do see we still see the growth. And with others, you hear that. We always talk numbers. That's what we do. You talk numbers, right? But it's the numbers are behind that. It's the people, like you said, that are using it and sticking with it. I mean, we can come up with a stick it word for so many different things, but it is.
Yeah.
It truly is. Again, with partners like you as well. We love you guys when we are looking to continue to grow and help others.
We love making stickers. Stickers and sticker accessories.
Let's get it. We don't
We're
make
in the
stickers.
sticky business. That's
Yeah,
really
we
where
are.
When I was a
You don't
kid,
leave.
if I even knew for a moment that I would be able to support my family off of making stickers for a living, it would have just
Not even that you're
I'm
helping
doing
people.
it, obviously, but
helping people make stickers even
it's
better. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So much fun. So much fun.
Well, is there anything else you guys wanted to add, I guess, before we...
No, we continue to grow again, adding people, adding equipment. It's exciting to see down the road what's coming. We'll share that with you at a later date, but a lot of cool stuff happening.
We love seeing the innovation in the market. We love seeing all these other manufacturers coming up with stuff. It drives us to be better. It drives us to create. We don't get complacent. We love that you guys keep bringing things to the table, and appreciate this type of stuff here where you think outside the box and come up with something new way to communicate to the market. It's great.
It's fun as an industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. I'm just happy to be here with General Formulations. It's just so funny that we're so close to you. Like literally, like I say again, I've never lived more than a half mile from you guys, so it's like kind of in my heart. Like, hey, they're right there. Like when people talk about, I use this from General Formulations. Like, well, if I walk to the back of my property, I can see them. Like I can literally see them from the back of my property.
Just don't forget us in future shout outs.
Yeah. We talked about that before.
We haven't said your name a whole lot. We'll get you more.
Said the word General Formulations very many times. So
full disclosure, we talked on Friday, and I told Tyler I was going to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
We haven't been mentioned once.
Well, I can't.
It's an error.
I can't believe it.
I said,
It's
"What's
Tyler's
crazy?"
fault.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy because you guys are literally
Long time
right in
listener,
our
first time mentioned.
Just a quiet giant. That's all. Quiet giant.
Yeah,
But you know what? We can
here
have
now.
fun with it, right?
that's true.
Which is why we brought you the ferns.
Yeah. Well, that's what
They're gonna keep
I
them
guess
too.
you can see, depending if it's on camera. If you saw one of our episodes, we mentioned, I feel like I'm on between two ferns, and then they brought us two ferns. So now we're between two ferns. So
But we didn't make this awkward like that.
No,
we can try next time.
Listen, we're overdue to have one that's not as serious.
One that's
so
super.
we need to have an episode like that pretty soon.
I don't feel like we were that serious, though, were we?
Well, not compared to some of the stuff you're serious compared to some of them.
The ones we did.
The ones we did in the beginning.
Where it's just you guys by yourselves.
And we got to bring the boys back too, because people have been asking for me and the boys one again. So we could go on stories forever, right?
That's true.
So
Well, look, as a family-owned business, we have our colorful conversations as well, so we get it.
oh yeah, I can imagine. So, all right.
Well, that's perfect. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Good from the episode. You can reach out to any of us here at Wensco if you have questions on the product, or I'm sure they can reach out to you guys.
I want to check with Jennifer and legal, make sure we're okay. Okay, we got the thumbs up.
She got thumbs up, so apparently we can end this podcast.
GeneralFormulations.com. Come see us.
Yeah.
Experience the quality.
Yes, go to generalformulations.com. Right at the end of the video, look at the top left. You'll see like there's some nice woods right there. That's where I live.
There you go.
Come see me.
Big pool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. Episode 17.
Thanks for having us.
Hopefully you guys
Thank
learned
you.
something.
Cheers.
Goodbye.